Welcome back to Mimi's Storytime. I'm Mimi. So if you need a Mimi right now, or if you just need a break from the world, here I am for your viewing and listening pleasure. Today's book is a book my son did not like. And when he was little, I loved it. And when I saw it on the library bookshelves, I absolutely could not believe that they had it. I don't know why. This tends to not be a favorite of kids, but it's a favorite of mine. So that's why y'all are hearing it today. This was Dr. Seuss's very first book, published in 1937, like I mentioned in the history video. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss, aka real name Theodore Geisel. When I leave home to walk to school, Dad always says to me, "Marco, keep your eyelids up and see what you can see." But when I tell him where I've been and what I think I've seen, he looks at me and sternly says, "Your eyesight's much too keen. Stop telling such outlandish tales and stop turning minnows into whales." Now what can I say when I get home today? And here's Marco just walking along. All the long way to school and all the way back, I've looked and I've looked and I've kept careful track. But all that I've noticed, except my own feet, it was a horse and a wagon on Mulberry Street. Not very exciting. That's nothing to tell of that won't do, of course. Just a broken down wagon that's drawn by a horse. That can't be my story. That's only a start. I'll say that a zebra was pulling the cart. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. That is much more entertaining, I fully agree. Yes, the zebra is fine, but I think it's a shame. Such a marvelous beast with a cart that's so tame. The story would really be better to hear if the driver I saw were a charioteer. A golden blue chariot's something to meet, rumbling like thunder down Mulberry Street. This kid's got one heck of an imagination. I love it. No, it won't do at all. A zebra's much too small. A reindeer is better. He's fast and he's fleet, and he'd look mighty smart on old Mulberry Street. Hold on a minute. There's something wrong. A reindeer hates the way it feels to pull a thing that runs on wheels. He'd be much happier instead if he could pull a fancy sled. It's getting bigger and better. A reindeer and a sleigh. Say, anyone could think of that. Jack or Fred or Joe or Nat. Say, even Jane could think of that. But it isn't too late to make one little change. A sleigh and an elephant. There's something strange. I'll pick one with plenty of power and size. A blue one with plenty of fun in his eyes. And then, just to give him a little more tone, have a Raja with rubies perched high on a throne. Say, that makes a story that no one can beat. When I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street, it's getting bigger, y'all. Let's have a look at that Raja with rubies. So now we have a Raja on a blue elephant pulling the sleigh. But now, I don't know. It still doesn't seem right. An elephant pulling a thing that's so light would whip it around in the air like a kite, but he'd look simply grand with a great big brass band. We're on the next level now. So there they are going down Mulberry Street, tooting their horns and trombones and tubas. A band that's so good should have someone to hear it, but it's going so fast that it's hard to keep near it. I'll put on a trailer. I know they won't mind if a man sits and listens while hitched on behind. But now, is it fair? Is it fair what I've done? I'll bet those wagons weigh more than a ton. That's really too heavy a load for one beast. I'll give him some helpers. He needs 2 at least. So now we've got the brass band and the little old man listening into his little trailer, being pulled by the elephant and 2 giraffes, and the Raja is still on top. But now what worries me is this. Mulberry Street runs into bliss. There's the street sign. Unless there's something I can fix up, there'll be an awful traffic mix-up. It takes police to do that trick, to guide them through where traffic's thick. It takes police to do the trick. They'll never crash now. They'll race at top speed with Sergeant Mulvaney himself in the lead. Boy, we've got a whole parade happening now. We've got the little old man in his trailer, the brass band being pulled by the elephant and his 2 helpers giraffes, the Raja on top, and now we've got police leading the way so they won't get into any massive traffic problems. But we're not done yet. The mayor is there, and he thinks it is grand, and he raises his hat as they dash by the stand. The mayor is there, and the aldermen too, all waving big banners of red, white, and blue. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Well, they got a grandstand, and the mayor and all the aldermen, otherwise known as councilmen, there are watching everything go by. With a roar of its motor, an airplane appears and dumps out confetti while everyone cheers. And that makes a story that's really not bad, but it still could be better. Suppose that I add, in the meantime, let's take a look at the plane. Boy, howdy. They've got all this drama going on, and we've got an airplane, and people are dumping out confetti. So what is he going to add? A Chinese man who eats with sticks. A big magician doing tricks. A 10-foot beard that needs a comb. No time for more. I'm almost home. Let's see all the additions. We've got the mayor and his men in the stand. We've got the man listening in his trailer. We got the brass band. We got the Raja. We got the elephant, the giraffes, the police. We got the airplane. But we've also now got the Chinese man with chopsticks, the magician, the 10-foot beard that needs a comb desperately. But he's almost home. I swung round the corner and dashed through the gate. I ran up the stairs and I felt simply great. For I had a story that no one could beat, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But Dad said quite calmly, just draw up your stool and tell me the sights on the way home from school. There was so much to tell I just couldn't begin. Dad looked at me sharply. and pulled at his chin. He frowned at me sternly from there in his seat. Was there nothing to look at? No people to greet? Did nothing excite you or make your heart beat? Nothing, I said, growing red as a beet, but a plain horse and wagon on Mulberry Street. And we're back to that. I think it's because his dad didn't exactly approve of his stories at the very beginning of the book, so that's why he decided just to keep it with the real thing. I hope everyone enjoyed this story. This is probably one of my very favorite Dr. Seuss books. I think it is my favorite. It's very different from the rest of his books. I hope that everyone has enjoyed this story just as much as I have. A shout out to my grandsons Silas and Atreus. I hope everyone has a wonderful night. I hope everyone, when they're snugly in their beds, gets a big hug and a smooch right on your forehead. Until next time, bye everyone.